Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. This is Tennyson E Stead, writer and director of Quantum Theory, founding member of 8-Sided Films. And I would like to talk today about a massive, massive misconception in Hollywood and a huge problem with how Hollywood is run regarding our perception of what an audience is. And obviously, if Hollywood's mistaken about what an audience is, then there's a real fundamental problem with how our entire culture and our entertainment industry is being run. So I want to get right to it. What Hollywood thinks an audience is the group of people who might be receptive to marketing for any one particular project, film or a television show or whatever. So, you know, people who like science fiction, according to Hollywood, are an audience. People who like action movies are an audience. Anyone who might be receptive to marketing for a new action film is considered an audience in Hollywood. So, generally speaking, when people in Hollywood say, who is your audience for this project, the thing that a filmmaker hears, even the thing that an executive hears, anyone who might actually be responsible even within the studio system for the success or failure of a project, automatically goes to essentially the demographics of who they hope will buy tickets to the movie or stream it or whatever the exit strategy is for that project. Okay? And that's not what an audience is at all. An audience, at the end of the day, is a community. And communities require constant investment to maintain, and there is an infrastructure to them. People within communities, depending on what the nature of the community is and what it's grounded in, are supporting each other in various ways. The leaders of that community are providing the core, I don't want to use the word value because it's a marketing word, but basically the core thing that this community does together. Communities are people that show up and do something together, okay? Some communities play basketball, some communities watch basketball games, some communities go to church together and pray together. Some communities watch movies together, right? And when someone who does have an established audience and has built a group of people that do something together, like the fans of a particular filmmaker, in some cases, like for example Joss Whedon, the fans of Joss Whedon films do things together. They show up at conventions together, they go to movies together, they communicate with one another, they talk to one another, they build websites together, they do stuff together, okay? And the job of an entertainer is twofold, and I've said it many times. The first half of the job is to be the best at what you do, to provide a level of craftspersonship that can't be competed with in whatever it is that you're doing. If there's someone better for a given show than the work that you can provide, then you owe it to the show to bring in that other person, so be the person who can do the best work for the show. That's half of it. The other half is to build a community around it, build a community of support for the project, and that's both the people that you work with, the people that you collaborate with, and the people who watch. And at the end of the day, what you have to start thinking of the audience as is a collaborator in the process, because they are, at the end of the day, the last character to show up. They're the last character in the movie. The movie's not complete unless someone's watching it. So, when you make a movie, you don't want to just hope that someone's going to watch it. You want to know someone's going to watch it. You want to know who's watching it. You want to be producing content all the time so you can get to know the people that are watching your movies. And I don't necessarily mean get to know the people in the sense that, like, well, there's an archetype and I understand who this person is. No, I mean there's folks who are going to be vocal in that community. There's folks who are going to be involved more than others. There's folks who are going to step up and start providing leadership to other fans of your work. And you want to know those people because they are going to be your emissaries to the rest of the community. As those people step up, you want to find out what they like and what they're into, and you want to relate to them and get to know them because they're collaborators. They are working with you, and most of them don't get paid. They just love what they do, and they're working with you to help make sure that the show is complete and that the people who come and see are invested as they are, because they want people to watch movies with, and they want people to talk about movies with, and they're willing to put in all this time and all this effort to help make that happen. And it's like the rings of a tree. There's layers and layers and layers of these people. That's what festival organizers are. They're audience members who got really organized and really ambitious and wanted a venue in which to connect more intimately and more successfully with the people who make movies and with the other people who watch movies. That's the only reason to build a film festival. It's the only reason people do it. And so as these people start coming into, as you start producing work, what you want to do is you want to keep an eye out for these people and make sure that you give them the resources and the support and the attention that they need to succeed in what they're doing. You want to make sure that you're rewarding their investment in your project, and you want to make sure that you are respecting and supporting their efforts to curate a culture around themselves. Because that's what they really are as curators. They're like the people who run museums. They're deciding that something is important and noteworthy and should be expanded on in terms of the attention it receives in our culture, because they have found value in it and they think it's good for people. And they are people who only succeed with our support, because it's hard work to get people to do something that they don't understand or that they don't know the value of. When you're trying to get people to watch a new movie or give a new band a chance or trying to try a new game, people are busy. People are as busy as they can be. Everyone in life has spent all the money that they can afford to spend, and everyone in life has booked their schedule up as much as they can personally sustain. So whenever you're asking somebody for time and money, you're asking for something they don't have to give, no matter how wealthy they are. And these are people who are so convinced that the work that you're doing is worthwhile that that they're willing to go out and make that request on your behalf. So you need to invest in the process of feeding those people the things that are going to enrich them and inspire them, and then observing who they are, and then supporting them, and then feeding them more so that they can find the next ring of people, and they can find the next ring of people, and they can find the next ring of people. And the first group of people who ever feel this way about your work are probably, in most cases, going to be your parents. They'll be the first ones to show up at a show most of the time, in most careers. And, you know, and that show should happen by the time you're 10, when you're young. And then you work in stages out from there. You build out from there. That's, you know, going, you know, years and then decades deep into that process. You wind up with a networked group of people who are sharing these experiences in common that you create and are a huge part of the context through which someone sees your work when people do see your work, and are ideally in regular communication with you and the rest of your team, and are as much a part of the community that you're building, if not a bigger part of the community that you're building, than any one person can be. And certainly a bigger part than you. Because these people will go and find something else if you're not there. Your job is to make sure, number one, that you're giving them the best of what they need that anyone can give, so that they're talking to the right person, which is you. And then from there, to invest in their success and to invest in the success of that community. Constantly. It's a constant effort. And anybody who's starting the process of distributing a feature film, you know, something where you have to sell literally hundreds of thousands, or in some cases, in many cases, millions of tickets to be successful. You need millions of people to show up to make that project successful. And you are just now starting the process of building this community. You're so far behind that the likelihood of your success is low, very low, even for a motion picture. And what you need to do, ideally, is start more conservatively, start small, start building that audience through other kinds of content, through web shows and whatever else you can, so that you can start to identify the people that are going to be leaders, and you can start to build those rings of the tree. And then when you do have your first feature, that's what the festivals are for. You go, you meet these people at the festivals. You spend ideally 2 years traveling around the country, getting to know all the people in this community, and then you can open in theaters, and you know, you can have a good run in Los Angeles and New York and a couple of other cities, and then you build from there. You build these things slowly and steadily. They're not just there waiting for you. Okay, that's the thing I'm trying to communicate here. And the last little sort of analogy that I'm going to throw your way is going back to the initial idea that the marketing people think of communities as things that are out there waiting. And to bring it into a theater environment. If you've ever been to a stage show, one of the things that they do right before the show starts to let people go, tell people it's time to go in and sit down, as they flash the house lights on and off. That's how everybody knows it's time to be quiet and go sit down and watch the show. Advertising is very much an analogy for flashing the house lights. Advertising doesn't do this work for you. Advertising just tells the people that are already in the lobby, that are already in the community, that it's time to go sit down. Advertising gives people a time and a place. Okay? And if the advertising is good, then the people in that community will notice the advertising and will show up at the appropriate time and place and buy their movie ticket. But anybody who buys a movie ticket because of the advertising is the exception rather than the rule. It's the people who are already in this community and the people that are getting drawn into this community by other community members that are going to buy that movie ticket. So that's what an audience is. I hope that helps clarify things a little bit, and I hope it helps paint a clearer picture of the work ahead for anybody who's looking to put butts in seats. If you enjoy these video blogs, please give us a thumbs up. Give us a thumbs up right down here. Click the subscribe button. There's plenty more. And have yourself a great evening. Take good care. Tennyson out. Bye-bye.